right, so this is the next one, right? We just did one video recently, which was about my dad and his cartilage damage. This is about my mum and her spinal damage, I should say. So my mum, what happened was this. My mum, she's a lovely woman. Yep, no doubt about it. But one of the things that was interesting was that she kept complaining about her bra. So basically she said, my bra is having a bit of a problem. I'm getting some scar tissue, around an area of where the bra strap is, and it's quite a bit of damage, like not bleeding, but you can see it kind of coming to the point where it could bleed. Interesting part. But she always used to say, I've got like this sharp pain coming around my, up to my sternum and then going across my obliques, all that kind of stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is interesting. Have you tried, aloe vera? Have you tried some of these creams to, help with the swelling? So she does. She puts this gel on, and I'm like, well, that's not really going to help, putting these gels on to help you with this kind of, sharp pain from the spine all the way down to, your sternum. Going kind of across that way. And she's just like, no, put this on my back. I've got tension in my shoulders and all this kind of stuff, and all this kind of stuff. So she complained to the doctor. The doctor didn't really want to see her in that kind of sense. She just said, you need to lose a bit of weight because you're a bit overweight essentially. Well, I'm trying to be polite, but basically that's what he said. And essentially, what happened was that, well, she said, no, look, I'm having some real problems. Like, I've got some problems with my back and all this kind of stuff. I don't know what's going on. They do a scan, and they find out that she's got dehydrogenated discs, scoliosis. She's got a lot of problems with her spine, and this, basically it's a little bit kind of, all over the place. So I looked at it and I said, well, okay, you need to do, the stuff that I did for scapular winging, right? Which is ITYs, and then you do your exercises that your physio has told you, right? And she does do the exercise that physio has told her, right? Because she's got that scoliosis as well, in that case. But what I found interesting was that, the dehydrogenated discs shouldn't have been an issue, even though she has it, because when I think of hydrogenation, right, when you're hydrogenating something, right, it means that you are adding water essentially to it, right? That's how you hydrate yourself, by drinking liquids like water, right? Hydrogen and oxygen. So basically what it means is that there's a lack of oxygen in the system, right? A lack of hydrogen. Oxygen is a different thing, but a lack of hydrogen. And because there's a lack of hydrogen, what basically that means is that the discs are kind of compressing a little bit down on themselves. So to get them a little bit out, what we would need to do is just add hydrogen to them. Once that's done, then that will help a little bit. And of course, do those exercises that I mentioned with scoliosis. Now, to fix it completely may take a long time because, right, your spine is kind of, it's curvy and it should be like this, right, straight. Now, the physio is probably the best person to help her with that, with chiropractics included. If it's a proper physio, they probably could do chiropractics. I personally know one who does this sort of thing, and also does, what's it called? They put like needles in you and they do the shock therapy. I forget the name of it. But essentially that's what he does. Really, really good guy. Really, really good guy. He's in Bellevue, by the way. He's in Bellevue Lane in Watford. Absolutely fantastic physiotherapist. They do that, and basically, they get your spine straight. So I'm trying to think of different exercises that my mum could do, and the one thing that comes to my mind is definitely the ITYs. The ITYs were the ones that helped me. But I also said, well, if you can't do it with weights, you can do it with a stick. So with the stick, right, you're basically doing the same thing. You're doing it overhead, and that'll be your Y kind of thing there. Yeah. So hopefully that helps you, and hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea, what you can do with things like scoliosis and dehydrogenated discs and all that kind of stuff, right? Because it's a difficult problem to have, right? And the other thing that I would also add is probably do some, what's it called? Kerries. farmer's carries. Why would I say do farmer's carries? Because think about the way that your hips are going to be compensating for it, right? All starts with the hips, right? Because your spine's going one way, your weight distribution is going on one way, your weight distribution is going another way. So to prevent it, right, having the ability to balance the weight distribution to that way it becomes a little bit more center is going to help a lot in the long run, right? Especially with your posture. The physio is going to actually do and help you with the posture anyway. So that's going to be fine. That's going to be fine. So you should be okay in the long run, right? As long as there's not permanent damage, I think you'll be all right. So yeah, I hope that helps you. I hope that's been useful, and I hope that you've gained a bit of knowledge in terms of, you know, your ability to go about life with these sort of issues and helping to solve them, essentially. So yeah, if you like that, and if you want more information, you know, drop a comment below, and I'll send you a link to a newsletter and some books that I'm going to be, some PDF files which I'm going to be sending out as well. And then, of course, you know, if you want to book with me for stuff like PT and stuff like that, let me know. More than happy to help. All right, I'll see you in the next one.